The air froze in my lungs as my sister-in-law's voice sliced through the Thanksgiving dinner conversation. "Your sister's here begging for money again," Natalie announced to the entire table, her words hitting me like physical blows. I hadn't asked for anything. I'd simply reached for my wallet to show my niece photos of her new cousin. But the way every head at the table swiveled toward me, expressions ranging from pity to disgust, told me the damage was already done. "Get a real job like your brother," she sneered, acrylic nails tapping against her wine glass. The Waterford crystal I'd gifted them last Christmas caught the light, creating tiny rainbows across the tablecloth while my stomach twisted into knots. "My name is Patricia, I'm 35 and an artist. This is the story of how I stopped funding my family's life and started living my own." The irony was almost suffocating. Every fork they lifted, every bite they took, every light illuminating their dining room had been paid for by the beggar sitting at their table. I closed my wallet slowly, deliberately, feeling my phone vibrate in my pocket. Without looking, I knew it was Maxwell, my accountant, following up on our earlier conversation about my monthly expenses. The timing was so perfect it felt scripted. "Natalie," my brother Elliot started, his voice carrying that familiar tone of weak protest that never quite made a difference. "No, Elliot. I'm tired of this," she continued, refilling her glass with the expensive Cabernet I'd brought. "Every family gathering, she shows up with her sob stories. Oh, my art doesn't sell. Oh, galleries don't understand my vision. Meanwhile, we are working ourselves to death to maintain this lifestyle." She gestured around their dining room like she was showcasing Versailles instead of a suburban McMansion in Plano, Texas. I pulled out my phone, glancing at Maxwell's text, confirming you canceling the monthly $15,000 transfer to their account. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. $15,000 a month for 3 years. $180,000 a year. $500,000 total. All funneled through a trust our grandmother had supposedly left for Elliot. A trust that had actually been empty when she died, leaving only her antique jewelry and a letter explaining why she'd disinherited him. "Patricia makes art," my mother said quietly from the end of the table, her voice trembling slightly. "Finger paintings aren't art," Natalie scoffed. "My 5-year-old could do what she does." "Your 5-year-old is remarkably talented then," I said calmly, something shifting inside me. "One of my finger paintings just sold to the Museum of Modern Art for $2.3 million. The silence that fell over the table was absolute. Even the children at the separate kids' table seemed to pause their chatter. Natalie laughed, that sharp, bitter sound that had grated on me since Elliot first brought her home 10 years ago. "Right. And I'm married to a secret billionaire." "No," I said, taking a sip of water. "You're married to a regional sales manager who makes $73,000 a year before taxes. Hardly billionaire territory." Elliot's face flushed. "How do you, Patricia, that's not. Isn't it though? Or did you get a raise from Technotron Industries recently? Strange, considering they've been laying people off for the past 6 months. Have you been spying on us?" Natalie's voice pitched higher, her perfectly contoured face starting to crack. "No, I've been paying your mortgage. There's a difference." My phone buzzed again. This time it was my gallery director Olivia. "The Sotheby's auction estimate just came in. Your series could go for 8 to 10 million. Champagne?" I typed back, "Later. In the middle of a family revelation." "What are you talking about?" Elliot stood up, his chair scraping against their hardwood floors. "Brazilian cherry, if I recalled the invoice correctly. Should I start with the mortgage, the car payments, private school tuition for both kids? Or should we jump straight to the fertility treatments that insurance wouldn't cover?" My mother gasped. My father, who'd been silently carving turkey for the past 10 minutes, set down the knife. "You're delusional," Natalie spat, but her hands were shaking now. Elliot's trust fund from Grandma didn't exist. I pulled up my banking app, 3 years of transfers clearly visible. Grandma left Elliot nothing. She left me everything, her entire estate, including her investment portfolio. About 12 million after taxes. "That's impossible," Elliot whispered. "Is it? Remember the summer you stole her social security checks to buy that motorcycle? Or when you convinced her to mortgage her house for your sure-thing business venture?" She remembered. She also wrote it all down in a lovely letter that came with the will. I scrolled through my phone, finding the photographed letter. "Would you like me to read it? It's quite colorful." Grandma had strong opinions about Natalie too. "You've been lying to us for 3 years," Elliot's voice cracked like we were teenagers again. "Like when I used to cover for him when he snuck out. Took the blame when he broke Mom's china. Gave him my babysitting money when he needed gas. No, I've been loving you for 3 years. Despite everything. I looked at my niece and nephew, watching wide-eyed from the kids' table. I've been making sure Emma and Lucas had everything they needed. Dance lessons, soccer camp, that specialized tutor for Emma's dyslexia that you couldn't afford. How dare you? Natalie started. How dare I what? Love my brother's children? Ensure they had opportunities? Pay for the roof over their heads? I laughed, but it came out sadder than I intended. Do you know what I told myself? They'll figure it out eventually. They'll be grateful. Maybe even love me back. We do love you, Elliot said weakly. No, you love Grandma's trust fund. You love the mysterious monthly deposits. You love the safety net you thought you earned by being born with a Y chromosome. I stood up, suddenly exhausted. But you don't love me. If you did, your wife wouldn't feel comfortable calling me a beggar at your table. A table I paid for, by the way. Receipt dated June 15, 2021. Restoration hardware, $6,300. Stop it, Natalie hissed. Stop listing prices like some kind of benefactor? ATM? I offered. What would you prefer I call myself? My phone rang. Olivia again. This time I answered, putting her on speaker. Patricia, darling, I'm sorry to interrupt your holiday, but the buyer from Hong Kong wants to know if you'll accept $4 million for Echoes of Silence right now. Cash deal. No auction wait. Tell them $4.50 or they can wait for Sotheby's, I said, watching my family's faces transform like a time-lapse of erosion. Done. I'll send the contracts tonight. Oh, and the Guggenheim called about the retrospective. They're offering the entire 3rd floor for next spring. We'll discuss it Monday. Happy Thanksgiving, Patricia. Happy Thanksgiving, Olivia. Try not to murder your family. I hung up. The silence stretched like taffy. Elliot couldn't finish. Successful? Rich? The artist you all mocked for 15 years. I gathered my things. Yes, all of the above. And tired. So very tired of pretending to be less than I am to make you comfortable. Why? It was my mother who asked, tears streaming down her face. Why did you hide this? Because the last time I had any success, that small gallery show in college, Elliot accused me of thinking I was better than everyone. Natalie made snide comments about art types for months. Dad asked if I was still playing with paint at Christmas. I looked at each of them. I learned to hide, to help quietly, to love from a distance. We would have been happy for you, my father said gruffly. Would you? Or would you have done what you're doing now, staring at me like I'm a stranger? At least when you thought I was a failure, you invited me to dinner. That's not fair, Natalie protested. Fair? I pulled up my bank statements. 3 years. 36 months. $540,000. Plus the emergency payments. New roof, $40,000. Natalie's mother's cancer treatment, $120,000. Elliot's gambling debts. Patricia. Elliot shouted. $75,000. Should I continue? There's the boat you couldn't afford. The timeshare you never use. Please stop, Natalie had gone pale. Why? You didn't stop. Every family gathering, every birthday, every holiday, you took your shots. Patricia the dreamer. Patricia the failure. Patricia the mooch. All while cashing checks I wrote. Emma, my 12-year-old niece, left the kids' table and walked over to me. Aunt Patricia, are you really famous? I knelt down to her level. I'm really good at what I do, sweetheart. Some people think that makes me famous. Natalie said you were jealous of us, that you came here for free food. My heart broke a little more. What do you think? She looked at her parents, then back at me. I think you paid for my dance classes. Mom said the studio made a mistake, but they knew my name. They said a Patricia Kendall had set up an account. You knew? Natalie gasped. I'm 12, not stupid, Emma said with preteen disdain. Also, Aunt Patricia's painting is in my textbook. The one about modern American artists. I recognized it the moment I saw it in class last month, even though you never took us to any of her shows. I hugged her tight, then stood. Maxwell's waiting for my answer. Do I continue the transfers? Yes, Elliot said immediately. Patricia, please. The kids. We'll be fine. I've set up education trusts for both of them. Full ride through graduate school if they want it. That won't change. I looked at Natalie. But you too. You're about to learn what it's like to live on $73,000 a year. Like normal people. Like mooches do. You can't, Natalie whispered. The mortgage is in your name. As is the car loan, the credit cards, everything else you've racked up, assuming the magic money fountain would never dry up. I texted Maxwell, cancel all transfers immediately. His response was instant, done. And Patricia, good for you. This is cruel, Elliot said. You're punishing us for what? Calling you names? Treating you like a failure? Making you doubt yourself for years. I shook my head. No, I'm setting boundaries. Something I should have done years ago. Patricia, my mother stood, reaching for me. Don't leave like this. How should I leave, Mum? Quietly like I always do? Apologizing for existing? Promising to try harder? I kissed her cheek. I love you, but I'm done shrinking myself to fit in this family. What about Christmas? Dad asked. I'll be in Paris. The Musée d'Orsay is doing an exhibition. I headed for the door, then paused. Oh, Natalie, you might want to call your mortgage company Monday. The automatic payment won't process. You really going to make us lose our house? I turned back one last time. No, you're going to make you lose your house. I'm just no longer preventing it. Patricia, Elliot called after me. What about the kids? The kids have trust funds. College, graduate school, a down payment on their first homes. All protected, all managed by Maxwell, not you. I looked him in the eye. I may be done enabling you, but I'll never stop loving them. Outside, the Texas evening was crisp and clear. My Tesla, the one Natalie always sneered at as trying too hard, waited in the driveway. I sat in the driver's seat for a moment, processing. My phone exploded with texts. Mom, please come back. Dad, that was uncalled for. Elliot, how could you? Natalie, you're a monster. But then, one that made me smile. Emma, Aunt Patricia, can I see your studio sometime? I want to be an artist like you. I texted back, anytime, sweetheart. Art is about truth. And today you saw what that really means. As I drove away from the house I'd paid for, from the family I'd supported, from the life I'd subsidized while being treated like a burden, I felt something I hadn't experienced in years, freedom. The radio played softly, and I laughed when I recognized the song, Money by Pink Floyd. The universe, it seemed, had a sense of humor. My phone rang. Maxwell. So, how did it go? About as well as expected. Natalie called me a monster. The same Natalie who spent $8,000 at Neiman Marcus last month. The very same. He sighed. You did the right thing, Patricia. You can't buy their love or respect. I know, it's just. I wanted to help. I wanted them to be comfortable. There's a difference between helping and enabling. You crossed that line about 2 years and 11 months ago. Why didn't you say something? I did. Repeatedly. You said they are family. They are family. No, Maxwell said gently. They are relatives. Family doesn't treat you like an ATM while calling you a failure to your face. He was right. I knew he was right. It didn't make it hurt less. The children's trusts are safe. I asked. Ironclad. Elliot and Natalie can't touch them. The kids will be fine, Patricia. Better than fine. Good. I merged onto the highway, heading toward my real home, the converted warehouse where I painted, lived, and built a life they'd never bothered to understand. Hey, Maxwell. Yeah? Increase the kids' trusts by the amount I was giving Elliot and Natalie. If their parents are going to struggle, they'll need it. He laughed. There's the Patricia I know. Heart of gold. Even when they don't deserve it. The kids deserve it. They didn't choose their parents. No, but their parents chose their path. Let them walk it. After we hung up, I drove in silence for a while. Then my phone buzzed with an Instagram notification. Emma had tagged me in a post, a photo of one of my paintings from her textbook with the caption, "My aunt is Patricia Kendall." Yes, Patricia Kendall. And she's the kindest person I know, even when we don't deserve it. Hashtag proud niece, hashtag artist life, hashtag truth hurts. The comments were already flooding in from her friends. OMG, your aunt is famous. Can she teach us? Why is your mom crying in the background? I smiled despite everything. Though I'd blocked most of my family on social media years ago, I'd always kept Emma's follow request accepted, knowing she was too young to be part of the toxicity. My phone rang again. This time it was a number I didn't recognize. Hello? Patricia? This is Harold Winters from The Times. We are doing a piece on artists who support their families while building their careers. Someone sent us a rather interesting recording from a Thanksgiving dinner. Would you like to comment? I thought about it for a moment. The old Patricia would have demurred, would have protected them even now. But the old Patricia had died somewhere between the appetizers and Natalie's sneering dismissal. You know what, Harold? I would love to comment. How about we discuss it over coffee Monday? I have quite a story about the real cost of success and the price of family silence. Looking forward to it. Oh, and Patricia, that piece the MoMA acquired? Stunning. My wife cried when she saw it. Thank you. It's called The Weight of Unspoken Things. Seemed appropriate, don't you think? He laughed. More than you know. See you Monday. I made a mental note to ask Emma if she'd been the one to record and share our confrontation. Her Instagram post timing suggested she might have taken matters into her own hands. As I pulled into my driveway, I saw my neighbor, Mrs. Taylor, watering her garden despite the evening hour. Patricia. Happy Thanksgiving. How was dinner with your family? I considered the question. Expensive, I said finally. But worth every penny. She looked confused but smiled anyway. Well, there's always Christmas. No, I said, getting out of my car. I think I'll spend Christmas with people who actually like me. Novel concept, I know. Inside my warehouse, my paintings waited. Massive canvases full of color and pain and truth. The very paintings Natalie had mocked, Elliot had dismissed, my parents had tolerated. The paintings that now hung in museums and private collections around the world. I poured myself a glass of wine, good wine, not the grocery store bottle Natalie served, while pocketing the case I brought, and stood before my latest piece. It was unfinished, like most family stories, but tonight I knew how to complete it. As I picked up my brush, my phone buzzed one last time. Maxwell again. Transfers cancelled. All of them. You're free, Patricia. Free. Such a small word for such a big feeling. I painted until dawn, pouring 3 years of silence and swallowed pride onto the canvas. When I finally stepped back, I saw it clearly, a family dinner table where one chair remained empty. Not because they forgot to set a place, but because the person who'd paid for every plate had finally learned she deserved better than crumbs. I'd call it the moocher's revenge. Or maybe just truth. Either way, it would sell for millions.